What is going on, my peeps? Your boy Versatile is back with another video, back with my hat, back with my light and the new setup. Before we get started in today's topic about why mid-rangers are becoming a new flagship, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below. Comment what you think already before I even get into the video. But like if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already. It's much appreciated. Now, to get into the topic. Why do I feel mid-rangers are becoming the new flagships? Part of it is what I heard Tech Rant say in his live stream the other day. He said that flagship should be the best phone that you have, that you own. That should be the best phone. That's what it should be considered a flagship. Or in other words, the best phone that the company currently has out. So that sounds like it's true. It's flagship. It's supposed to be the lead amongst the rest of your products, the flagship. But why the mid-rangers seem like they're taking over in terms of flagship, that's simply because the prices of what is considered flagship, the more expensive phones, are becoming too expensive. And the Google Pixel 3a XL came through and completely changed the market instantly. So many people have went out to buy the Pixel 3a and 3a XL, and has really started to turn the brain muscles into thinking, well, one, I'm getting a great camera, which is, you know, everybody in the tech world freaking out about in terms of camera. You get a great camera, but you get a great phone, software, hardware experience out of the Google Pixel 3a XL. It almost makes you rethink, do we even need all that glass? Because you have to baby the phone at that higher price, that higher tier in the flagships. You also see people financing their stuff because it's just so expensive. And then when you're looking at your phone bill, you got $30 on this phone a month, $40 on that phone a month, $60 on this phone a month. So Google is helping reestablish what we should be prioritizing, and that's a great phone experience, an overall phone experience at a cheaper price, a more valuable price, and that is the $400 to $500 range. Now, although the OnePlus 7 Pro starts at $669, maxes out at $749, this phone could still be considered mid-range, more so in terms of the price, not the specs. Now, we think of mid-range, we think of more so on the spec side and the price side. Like, again, Tech Rant had a good point about the Poco phone. The Poco phone is like $350 or whatever, but it's got flagship level specs, but people consider it a mid-range because of the price. So if we're looking at price as the determining factor, the de facto, if you will, that separates the flagship from the mid-range, flagships will start to go away and the flagships will now become the mid-range, because that's what also that's what they're gonna start buying. The Pixel, thanks to Google, is going to help people think about that. You can buy this phone at $669, the OnePlus 7 Pro, and get a great experience, and not have to pay $800, $1,000 for a phone. You can spend $500 on the OnePlus 7, albeit in the US. You have to buy it everywhere else pretty much, or foreign import the phone at like $530 to $560 or something like that. And that, even though it still got better specs than what we would consider mid-range in terms of mid-range processor or something, maybe they held back on the camera or the battery. We see the Samsung Galaxy A line, which would be considered mid-range because of price and specs, but the specs are starting to blur between flagship and mid-range. Mid-range really is more price oriented, not spec oriented, because of what the price is, not what the specs are. And so like Samsung's got A series phones that's got a big old battery at 4,000 or 4,500 milliamp battery. It's got a unique material build. I think Floss said, and for one of the I think it was the A70 maybe, it was like glasstic or whatever. It was like part glass, part plastic, or how it shined. It looked like glass, but it was plastic. You still get 3 cameras on the back with some of the A series phones. The front of the phone, you either get a full display or you get like a little teardrop display. So you see the mid-range catching up to what used to only be exclusive to the flagship devices, and you're starting to now see mid-range become mainstream. It's cool now to have a mid-range phone. It's cool now to have a phone that's not $1,000, not $800-900. And I think that's a good thing, because what companies are gonna have to start doing now is not only for the price, consider what specs or what they're giving you for the phone, but now they're gonna have to consider dropping that price. Because when you have the Pixel 3a series in the world, you got Samsung's A series of the world, you have some of like you got the Honor brand, you got like the light version of some of other Huawei phones. You got Xiaomi coming out here with phones that are $400 or $500. What will be the need to spend $1,000 now? Now, I'm not saying it may not be worth to spend $1,000 on some of these phones, but I think mid-range is now taking over the flagship moniker, because flagship's gonna have to take a new moniker, because them phones is crazy expensive. That's gotta be a whole nother tier. That's gotta have a whole new name to it, because mid-range is where it's at, or where it's going to be at in the very foreseeable future. And the proof is in the pudding with Google's Pixel 3a series. That's why I keep coming back to that, because everybody has gloated and just have been flabbergasted by the performance, by how well this phone is for $400 and for $480. I'm ready to see what Samsung does with theirs, right? I want to get some Xiaomi mid-rangers. The mid-range, and of course, the average consumer may not know that much about the Honor series or the Huawei Lite phones or Xiaomi, but they know Samsung and they know Google. And if Apple decides to drop a smaller phone and decrease the price, what's gonna be the need in buying the 11 or the 11R even? Hopefully the 11R still stays in that 750 range, but I think flagship, true flagship, if we're gonna go by price, flagship should start at $800 and above, and mid-range should be $799 and below, or $798 and below, or $750 and below. That $50 price gap is really what divides the difference between a mid-range and a flagship. And that's why I also titled my OnePlus 7 Pro video, a solid phone settling in, because the Pro is settling into new ground, not necessarily settling for what it has, but settling in new territory, in limbo. It doesn't know if it wants to be considered a flagship or a phone that's a flagship killer, which is really a phone that gives you a lot at a great price. And that's what mid-rangers are becoming. Mid-rangers are giving you a ton of value at a great price. That's a flagship killer. That's what should top and now become the flagship, the mid-range segment of devices. Boom, that's how I say that right there at the end. That's how I say that right there at the end. Whoo! Yes, that's what it is. I'm gonna leave it right there. Your boy Versatile signing out. Again, like and subscribe, comment if you haven't already down below about what you think. I know it seemed like it kind of took me a little bit to get my train of thought together, but I'm glad I was able to get there, and I'm having fun. It's been a little bit, I guess, since I've shot like a headshot piece. You know, I just sit down and kind of talk. I had to kind of get my thoughts together, but hope you guys appreciated it and appreciate the new setup. Again, I'm gonna do a video about what it's gonna be a quick setup, because there's only so much I got going on right now, but definitely be on the lookout for that. But your boy Versatile signing out, and until the next video, wait for it.